Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome home. I was asking my cards what type of reading should I do, and the first card that came out was "You don't look dumb doing or living in your purpose," guys. And I'm here to remind you that no matter the amount of setbacks on your paths and heavy emotions in your surroundings and distractions and the internal screaming, right? It's like your inner child is screaming, and I am filming with more windows open and the kids are still playing outside because I live next door to a kindergarten. So we're gonna take them as omens, right, guys? But we are living in our purpose, or at least we want to, right? We're finding our ways on how to better ourselves. It's like this era that's coming is really about refining your skills, taking home courses, trying to budget around it. We do have Mercury entering Gemini, and so doesn't matter. This is a timeless reading, but there's this emphasis on Taurus and Gemini energy because the planets are kind of following each other consecutively through the houses. So the energies that we feel are that much more potent in this season, especially if you're watching this in the 2026 year. It's just there's a different type of pressure going on, and a lot of this pressure we internalize. And in this timeline, where whenever you find this reading, we are minimizing our stressors, right? We are decluttering our life of everything that feels off, anything that freezes or boils our blood. We're trying to kind of simmer down energetically and pull that focus internally and really tinker on the little things that need to be, everything that you do or want to do is highly accessible knowledge to you via the internet, right? So you can do, I'm seeing like a bunch of home workouts being done in this season, and a lot of these little courses that we take or this new content that we search after. I'm feeling like the collective is going to go through a whole moment here where the energy that we, put towards our personal purpose is the true way you can love yourself, right? The most love you can give to yourself is you living the way you want to live. And now that the dog started barking, the timer was like 333. So we are co-creating with spirit, and we are riding this, whatchamacallit, wave of really, really dense energies. Give me just 1 second. All right, we needed to tone the fuck down with the noise and focus on our purpose, right? So I noticed I didn't even plug in my light. I'm definitely not on my schedule. I'm completely unprepared. I normally drink coffee for like 2.5 hours, and I still have what I call half of my coffee, which is gonna last me till pretty much 1 p.m. It's 11. So there's this energy of we're taking a different approach, and it's in this Taurian energy emphasized with this Mercurial Gemini energy, where we're just brainstorming and coming up with fresh ideas and new ways of being, doing, and seeing things. It's just the way that the energy is coming in is like super exciting summer energy. Like this is kind of like post incubator energy, and now because now these ideas come in so quickly that you almost cannot keep up, and I'm feeling chills. Like, I don't know if you can see, but I have literally goosebumps. So there is this energy coming in that is well, kind of shaking you by the shoulders at this point, where it's like, hey guys, I don't know, for instance, if you wanted to do more exercises, right? It's not about setting up a big plan on, I'm gonna pay for fitness, or I don't know, I want to do MMA again, right? So I asked, like, how much is it? Because I've seen they had a competition, and there's this really cool young group now in my hometown, and you know, our little towns don't have the ability to have everything, right? And we get limited. There's limits being imposed on how we go about it. For instance, in my situation, I am very much into calisthenics and anything that like strengthens the core, you know, anything fast and that you need to be strong, because my ligaments are really strong. Like, I don't look like it, but I will carry, I'm no two-trip bitch when it comes to groceries, okay? Ever since I was a little kid, I used to carry the big pack of milk for my mom. I was 8, right? So we have this inside of us because our body is asking us to move, right? Even if it's in your creativity, it's asking you to move towards taking your, for instance, iPads or phones and be like, instead of fucking doom scrolling all day, you know, look up a little beginner's Pilates class to ease into it, or a guided meditation, or something that you're interested in but don't find the time or don't make the time. And it's really about separating ourselves from society in this moment to really focus on our purpose, right? To really come back into that point where we can use one calm breath to say no. And the presence behind it is so strong that nobody can go against you in any way, because you are so hyper focused in this next season, like beginning now, today or yesterday, right? Because I already feel this energy. If you don't, it's coming. The wave is coming towards you. So, you know, be pre-prepared if possible, because the way that the energy is going to be kind of like relieved is, well, first of all, we had this asteroid that passed very close between the moon and the earth. We constantly have solar explosions, you know, flares, sorry, solar flares. And there's a bunch of these waves constantly coming in our fields of, either be it the atmosphere, either be it radio waves. You know, an annoying song is not gonna help you support your emotional state, right? And we don't quite understand mindfully that in this timeline there's a bunch of magnetic waves coming off of our phones and tablets, and we're sleeping next to charging phones, and we're not hydrating enough, and so many horrible things that we can do to our bodies, that now that the energy has lifted, we can kind of see where we have been going wrong in adding stressors to our lives, right? So we know, right, in theory, we know that doom scrolling is just horrible, right? If you watch your screen time, it's horrible. And you know, you don't learn much from it, or it doesn't give you back what you need in the same amount that you give the time towards that, you know, mindless thing that wastes your time. So I'm getting a lot about time management and finding new courses to be a self-learned person. I'm seeing like knitting and just a bunch of different crafts, and I don't know, like music lessons, because there's a bunch of people that are professionals that post their content for free, where you can kind of, you know, sing along or beatbox along, or, you know, you can do most of the things at home. You don't have to spend $60 or euros for a gym membership, right? You can shadow box at home if you have a mirror, so you can invest a one time of 60 euros, dollars, whatever, and you practice with yourself, right? Because there's a lot that you can do to ease yourself into the rhythm of the thing that you want to do before you expose yourself when you're energetically a bit more, you know, capable of taking everything in from your surroundings. It's really about finding the ways to desensitize yourself before your next steps in your plan, right? So for instance, you could be doing yoga for years or something like that, but you want to become a yoga teacher and you want to do something with that. It's not really about so much about taking that course that will make you the yoga teacher as a certified teacher, yoga master, but you can do self-learning courses on YouTube, for instance, or Udemy, or certain other platforms where you still learn a similar course, but it prepares you for the master class in such a different way, where you kind of do these things on your own, in your own time, because you are investing in yourself and you are preparing to do the thing, right? So your purpose is never, oh, I have to do this exactly like I want it to look right now. And I have this analogy that I usually tell my friends, like, you know, these old school tents where you have strings and pins, and it's a process, right? And usually it takes more than one person to put up a tent. And first you have to lay it all out in front of you. You have to square it up. You have to pin the pins. And, you know, sometimes you need help in raising the tent so it gets structure. And you cannot pin all the pins at the same time, right? You focus on the outside pins first. Then you focus on extra stabilization once the tent is lifted. But it's a whole process that, you know, whatever your soul is here to do and whichever area it thrives in, it's this process of camping is not just having all the tools. It's about using them wisely, asking for help, learning new things, doing things on your own, and then asking for help. Because yes, some people's purposes are like pop-up tents from Decathlon, right? You just kind of frisbee them up in the air and they pop open and you just pin them, right? But your purpose is that old school tent because you're an old soul. You're old school, right? You do things differently because your soul carries a different depth and a lot. When you're, let me say this, sorry guys, when you're mountaintop, the thing that you want to achieve in life, your mountaintop is that of the Himalayas, right? It's ancient, it's cold, it's way up there, and you have to be prepared with the right gear to get to the top. Whereas other people, they have different areas, different mountain ranges to overcome. And this is where comparison and people pleasing comes in for most people. because we don't have that self-focus on, well, I might not have money or the energy or something right now to do this the way I want to do it, but I can still do the little steps in between, and it will give me the knowledge and the wisdom that I need to go forward on my path. Because when I say everybody has their own path, these paths are never just straight and narrow, right? They go, and we kind of interlap energetically where we find each other, right? So for instance, you could not come to this event, let's say it's a gallery or a concert or something is going on. You've been isolating, working on your stuff, and then you just suddenly decide, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do something different. This is for me, and I don't care how I look. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm not here to please anybody. I'm just here to enjoy myself, and this is how I enjoy myself. And the more you live in who you are and what makes you feel most yourself, even if it makes other people uncomfortable and it seems like you don't fit in, you know, could be a high-class gallery or something that makes you feel kind of separated. But in this next season, people want to be around you, people want to learn from you, people want to ask you questions or you know, collaborate. And there's a bunch of this group projects going on or will be going on, and collaborations and connections. It's just the energy behind this energy. It's like, you don't know what we have in store for you, but you have to take the first step. You have to lay out your yoga mat and put your devices on content that will not make your back even worse, but where you can stretch with it or through it, or, you know, whatever it is. Or it could even be putting devices away to get more in tune with your natural frequencies, because these are all what's the word? I know it in Slovene, but they affect our natural, you know, our natural electromagnetic fields, right? And if you download a physics toolbox on your phone, you can measure it, because our phones have the tools to pretty much measure ghosts. But it's about the electric, you know, the like the electronic vibes it's giving off. No, that's not what I mean. But if I measure my phone to my iPad is fucking toxic, just like my ex. And sleeping next to something that puts off so much into the electromagnetic field, it cannot repair, you know, my body, my brain cannot be in that repair state, or I cannot access the dream state very well when I sleep next to a bunch of devices, or sleeping next to a charging device is even worse. Just let's point out the facts of physics. So your greatest strength in this next season is you being calm, all right? Because your third eye is opening up. And what I mean by that, for those that don't know the language, it's about closing your eyes and seeing, right? That's your third eye opening up. It's your ability to visualize, to dream, to keep your colors alive, because the color of the third eye is indigo, and it's a threshold in the visible spectrum that humans can see, right? So we don't see purple or pink. Our brains just mash up blue and red, and it's like, haha, I made up a color that doesn't actually exist. And when we go from indigo to, you know, purple and pink, which is the crown chakra, it's the same as when you look at a rainbow. It's really hard to see that purple because that's actually something special, right? It's this connection to ether in physics and in metaphysics where our brain makes up the magic, right? The animals don't see the same colors that we do, and we call them colors. But imagine somebody, a being, having an even more HD coloring. And it's these abilities to visualize, right? You may have not known that your brain does this when it's not pink or purple, but it's actually, you know, your brain frying these two red and blue colors, right, together to create something. And it's kind of the same when you're going up your chakra system and opening up your third eye. It's opening up to the fact that there's a spectrum beyond that blue, right? So we go red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then quasi purple, right? But I call it kind of like ultraviolet because, first of all, it's not there. Our brains just make it be there. But imagine like we wouldn't see pinks or purples and they would be gray. And imagine if the grays that we now see are colors that our brains cannot mash up and create something that doesn't exist in our spectrum, right? It's the same in your energy field. You kind of have to break your mind sometimes and learn something new to open up that spectrum. So I'm seeing, we call it fjakarski kon. It's those ye olden times of horses where, well, they still use it, but it's when they use a cavalry or, you know, just horses when they have to go somewhere without having distractions. They put these thingies on them that they only see straight. And that's what most people are like. They're like these horses that only see what's in front of them, right? With their eyes. Sorry, that was creepy. But when we open up the third eye, it's about closing the material eyes and seeing something else, right? And it's the same with meditation. When you do yoga and when you do meditation and when you actually calm down and know how to just relax yourself, when you get to those levels, you can also instantly tap into the visuals, right? So this is where clairvoyance and clairaudience come in, because we are a lot more than just our five senses, right? We are, we have these ethereal senses that we cannot tune in as much, especially now in this era, because these thingies are taking the power away from us. Imagine a health bar and a mana bar in a game, right? This ability power bar, your mana, is your energy. Your ability powers come from having that on unlock. How do I unlock my powers? It's different for everybody. Usually trauma. But, you know, we can talk about it in a whole nother video. What you're going through is a new type of clarity, a new type of detachment, and this inner silence and inner fire that are rising, right? Because your purpose is special to you and pretty much nobody else by their intention, it should stay something that's close to your heart and something that you practice when nobody's watching, and you do it, and you don't do it for an audience, you do it for yourself, right? So if I look at myself like this is my purpose, I literally have a photo of myself being I don't know, 6 months or a year and 6 months between those ages. And I'm in one of those high chairs, you know, for eating baby food because I can only crawl or something. Yeah, I was like 6 months, I think. So I'm like, you know, no hair, baby, just chunky cheeks. And I'm just like, all the time, just like a reincarnated philosopher. I'm just like blabbering like baby words, but I had so much to say and teach and everything from a very young age. And this is where I feel comfortable. This is where my powers are heightened, in this space with you guys, right? And the spaces that you guys create with your own people are also super important, because they are your purpose. That is where you thrive. That is where you get your confidence from. That is where you increase your confidence in, right? Each time you do something, you do it a little bit better and a little bit better. But pulling yourself down, meanwhile, is not your internal energy, right? It's something that is coming from the outside, from society, or just the way your people around you, right? Sometimes it's really hard to expand in spaces without affecting others' ego, especially if you were a born star, like you're good at singing or doing music or crafting arts or drawing, whatever it is, right? Light work, whatever. Something that truly comes from your heart, those emotions, those pure, real emotions, nobody can recreate them. Nobody can take your shoes and walk your years of life and be like, this is easy. Because it's not. It was never easy for us, because our mountaintop is fucking Kilimanjaro, guys. You know, it's not the local hill where everybody goes and nobody freezes. We were meant to be in these freezing states, in horrible environments, to transcend ourselves. And that is how we clear karma, by being ourselves, by living in our dharma, right? So I was talking to a very close friend. She's also a tarot reader, and she was like, I understand karma, but I don't understand dharma. But, you know, we all understand these concepts internally from a very small age. Like, we understand that it's in us. When we see somebody falling, that we react, or somebody needs something and asks us, we, you know, here you go, this is my shirt, like I have another one, it's fine, I'm not gonna be naked. But, you know, we are the types of people that are defying the laws of society, right? Of people. We are so against the grain and in our own flows and in our own, you know, movies, that the society's opinion has nothing to do with where we have been, what we have gone through, and where we are going. Because if somebody looks at you weird for doing the thing that you love, and it helps people get in tune with their emotions, because everything is frequency, right? Either you do art, it's like they used to draw symbols to open portals, right? And don't you think that when you draw something from your soul, that it's not an expression of the love that you possess and the trauma that you carry? Of course. Drink your waters, drink your coffees, guys. Israel is coming. So, living in our purpose is hard in society. You know, we have to have some types of jobs or odd jobs to survive in this ever-rising economy, with these fucking helicopters above our heads, subtly foreshadowing, right? And even though the feeling of the world collapsing is not so, it's not only internal, it's also external, because everything is connected. We have to understand that the more we share love, like true, honest, goodly intended love and laughter, and when we keep returning to ourselves, we can never go wrong, because it just instantly cuts away all the illusion that anybody's even thinking about you in a way where you might sense it. And even if they are, you know, tell them to fuck off. Because I have this fire wielding friend, and I'm like, bruh. And it's besides me how, you know, he moves these long sticks, and usually when he performs, it's with fire, and he's defying the laws of physics with his body, and I fucking admire him. And you know, the visual arts, it gives you this tribal feeling of belonging when you watch such a show with, you know, fire breathers and fire benders and, you know, stuff like that, with the visuals and the lights and the music. And it's been hard for him because, fucking hell. 1 second. Yeah, we tried. Hope my battery doesn't die. So I love him to death because he's doing something that it's not, you know, societally a masculine thing to do. And growing up in an even smaller town is even harder, right? Because you cannot practice fire bending inside the four walls. He has to expose himself. He has to go way out of his boundaries of comfort, and failing many times, right? And I was like, well, I guess you should start posting fails and show the young people that it doesn't just come to this beautiful performance of doing these moves and dancing and being soft yet very strong and, you know, focused in movement and specific. It takes many failed attempts to get to that final result, right? And let's take beatboxing, because beatboxing is really hard to learn if you haven't been doing it like since a child or teenage years, because it's the same as language, right? Our muscles in our face are adapted to our phonetics, right? They have to be trained. They have to be, you cannot just start beatboxing, right? Unless you have like major talent and know how to use each and every breath. I don't know how that happens, but you know, when you're just trying to, well, let me say it like this. One time I tried beatboxing because I was obsessed. I'm obsessed with beatboxing, but I can't do it for the life of me. But I'm really into imitating dialect, singing, and a bunch of things with using my voice, right? And I haven't had a better laugh than in just watching these beatbox tutorials and trying to repeat after them. It sounded like broken farts, and farts are fucking hilarious to me, so I was just dying laughing with myself, because I was like, yeah, this maybe this isn't something that I will ever do, but I can now admire it even more because I took a little course, right? It's just a YouTube video, but let's expand it to the ethers. I took a course in beatboxing. I tried, I failed miserably, and I was like, okay, this is not my purpose, but I can admire, I can really appreciate the sound that comes out of some people's mouths, guys. I even have this friend, he's an opera singer, and we were like talking about, we were sending like memes or something, like reels, and I was like, there was this scale, I think it was an Andalusian scale, and I sent it to him, and he replied. So we started talking about these different like throat singings, and he sent me, because he's, you know, he's college educated opera singer, like one song 200 euros type. You know, he knows his shit. So he sent me a voice memo of him doing this interesting throat singing, and he sounded like the instrument didgeridoo, right? And I was like, my god, I'm so impressed, because I don't even know where to begin to start imitating that sound. And I can imitate a lot of different things, but not without failing many times first, right? So it's about okay, just one more thing, and I will leave you with this. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Whatever you do, do it with passion or not at all. And I'll leave you with that. Love you guys. Bye.